Folks, in today's video, we're gonna be cutting all of these logs, and believe it or not, that's one tree. Insane. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to another gorgeous day here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. We've got the Kubota set out right here, and we got the ATV up on the top of the hill, and we're gonna be having some fun today. So I've got to drop some dead standing trees that I have here on the farm that have been standing dead for about a year. They're white oak trees, and then there's a couple other different types of trees. We're gonna drop at least 3 trees, maybe 4 trees today over here on the farm. We're gonna cut them up so that we can load these logs up on the sawmill. Stay tuned for a future video as we take these logs, these white oak logs, and we build more plant beds for the garden. We're also gonna go feed the cows, and we're just gonna have a little bit of fun here on the farm today. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go get busy. All right guys, welcome to the Stoney Ridge Farm. If this is your first time here, please hit the like button. If it's your 50th time here, hit the like button. It helps for sure. Jump in, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you back here on the farm. So what we're gonna be doing today is a little bit interesting and a little bit fun. Last year, or this season, I cut several white oaks and we built these plant beds. I've got to build at least 5 more. And the way I'm gonna do this, I'm not gonna cut green lumber. I've got enough trees dead standing on the farm. We're on a 150-acre farm here. I've got a wood miser sawmill. We'll be milling these in a future video as I pile up some logs, and I've already got a nice little log pile built up. We're also gonna be building a sawmill shed, which is gonna be a fun video series, so stick around for that for sure. These are the white oak beds, and all 5 of these beds full of tomatoes provided me enough tomatoes to do like 10 cannings or something like that. I've got like 60 cans of tomatoes, whether it's tomato juice, tomato sauce, or just canned tomatoes for all sorts of meals that we're gonna be planning out here on the farm. Awesome. Food Fridays, good stuff. So let's go down here and we're gonna take a quick look at one of the dead standing trees that we're gonna drop today. This is a dead standing white oak. That's a white oak tree right there, and it's dropping limbs off in the pasture right here in the field. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get right in here in this briar patch, which is awesome. We'll have to clean that up just a little bit around there. And we're gonna get on this tree and drop it. Now, to give you guys an idea of the size of this tree, this thing's huge, man. That's my hand size. So you can see this thing is probably 18 inches through the middle. That'll make probably 4, maybe 8 good 2x12 true 2x12 oak boards, and that is a white oak. This is the pile of logs that we currently have. So this is cherry and this is walnut. So we've got some cherry and walnut logs over here. We'll probably get those milled up first because those are still wet. You see the purple on the end of the logs? I painted the end of the logs so that they don't dry out and crack and check. In other words, if you don't seal off the end of a log like this guy right here, let's get a little closer. You don't seal him off, it'll start to crack and check, and it'll bust that log up and ruin your boards. So that's what we've got going on right there. Nice, beautiful lumber. So awesome to have the sawmill on the farm, guys. We can build stacks of lumber like this for future projects. Super excited to be building an outhouse. Gonna build an old-timey outhouse, so that'll be pretty fun too. Let's ride on up here. We'll show you what we're gonna do with the cows. We're gonna draw those cows away from the trees that we're gonna cut because they're in the current pasture that the cows are in. By the way, this is a mic, okay? In case you guys are wondering what that weird fuzzy thing on me is, it's a microphone, so you guys get better sound. Cool? Let's go check on the cows. up here at Mater and Tater, and we've got a hay bale all loaded up on the bale and roller, kind of loaded up on the bale and roller. I left this thing lifted up in the air last night. Mistake, it kind of dropped and fell down. So here's a problem that I run into. I've got to get the hay bales into the pasture, and the cows inevitably will crowd around the stinking gate right here. The tree that I've got to drop is right there. That's a big dead white oak, and then there's another tree right down there, and I believe that that's a hickory, so that'll be used for firewood for sure. Let's go on and get through the gate here and see if we can get the cows fed. Okay, let's talk about the way this thing works. This is a Greg Judy bale and roller. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to get it up in the air. Right now it's not working very well. We'll go ahead and take our knife here and we'll cut off the string. Look out, okay? These are the cows that are the most dangerous, the ones that don't care if you're over here, okay? Although she is a sweetheart. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut the net wrap on the bale. Go, just that easy to cut a net wrap bale. These bales have been stored outside, so we've got a little bit of rot. That's what we want. We want that rot out on the pasture right here to help feed the pasture. So, go ahead and pull this bale off. Look out, guys. Windy day, no fun fooling with old stinky dry hay. And this bale was not centered on the bale and roller, and I got problems. Hopefully we can get all that net wrap out. There we go. Ball this up. Put it in the back of the ATV. Now, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna flip this tab. Right there, there's a tab. Let the bale down. Like so. And we're gonna unhook our retention hook right here, okay? Just like so. Hook that guy back here out of the way. Make sure it clips so I don't bounce and lose it. There we go. And this bale will unroll. So you guys can tell we got a much less than ideal situation that happened right here. I did not have that bale centered on the bale and roller, and therefore it ran out. It is really windy out here. I'm questioning the intelligence of cutting trees in this wind. You can see the leaves blowing out of that oak are just whipping down that way. I'd say we got a 25-mile-an-hour wind right now. I've still got to get these on the ground, so we're gonna give them a shot. We're gonna go ahead. Just understand cows. Wherever you don't want them is where they will be. We're gonna kick this bale down the hill and unroll it by hand. Ugh. There we go. The cows will take care of the rest. They'll butt that bale and unroll it all the way down through there. What we're doing is taking older hay, and that was last year's fall cutting, and we're rolling it out on the land here to help feed the land. So the cows will eat it, they'll trample some of it, it has a seed bank in it, and that good butt fertilizer will start flying out of those cows pretty soon and help give this field more nutrient. So let's go get busy. We'll show you the tools that we're gonna use to cut these trees down. So tools of the trade today, we've got Skiddy Bop, the skid steer, right over here. We'll be using Skiddy Bop to pick up the logs. And we've got our Husqvarna 572 XP from HL Supply. I'll post a link down in the video description for you guys. And also, the big dog, the MS661 stihl. Stay tuned to a future video. We're gonna compare the 500i with the 661. That'll be a great video, guys. This tree is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 feet tall. It's a monster. It's a big boy. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge to get this down. The wind is whipping that way, and I've got part of this tree I want to fall back the other way. So, fingers crossed that we do the right thing. We're gonna put our safety gear on and get busy. Protect this, you only get one of them. You only get 2 legs. These are chainsaw chaps, guys. I'll post a link to those in the video description. Perfect Christmas gift for that chainsaw user in your family. If you want them to be safe and if you want them to survive the next time they cut a tree, or you don't want to go to the hospital, because that chain and that blade on that chain is much harder than the meat on your legs. So save yourself. So for this tree, we're gonna use the 661. This is a big tree. I'm gonna go ahead and get the 661 started, let it warm up to good operating temperature. We're gonna show you some measurements on this tree. This thing is huge, man. Just to give you an idea, my reach is almost 7 feet. This tree is nearly 14 feet all the way around. If you had to wrap the tape all the way around, and we'll do that in just a second, just to see how big it is. I'm gonna notch it, and the wind is howling this direction. So I'm gonna notch it right here. I'm gonna drop it over. There'll be a stump, okay? The stump is gonna stay here, and we'll take all of the brush and debris, pile it up on the stump, and have a slash pile in order to burn that stump out eventually. So it's gonna take some time. The ashes and the coal are good for the cows because it's a natural dewormer, okay? So it pulls toxins out of the body. Ash and coal, charcoal, will pull toxins out of the body. If you were to overdose on a medication and went to the hospital, what would they do? Pumping your stomach is actually introducing charcoal, liquid charcoal to your stomach, in case you don't know that. So let's get started here. We'll go ahead and warm the saw up and devise a plan. There's a little bit of danger here. There's dump trucks over there, fence, all sorts of stuff that we could drop this guy on. If we notch it appropriately and the wind continues to blow that direction, we should be able to drop it just directly right there. We got several cameras rolling. It should be awesome. It's 4 feet through. It doesn't look like 4 feet, but it's 4 feet from one side to the next. That is huge, man. This is gonna be fun. Oh, man. My heart is thumping, dude. That is a big tree. Holy cow. It shook the ground when it hit. Awesome. It fell exactly where I wanted it. My heart, when I cut this tree, was boof, boof, boof. That is a monster tree, guys. I don't know how many of you guys have ever cut a tree that's 4 foot through the center, but that was a beast. And you can tell right here that it's split. So the tree busted in half once it hit the ground. There are 2 sprigs coming off of it, or out of the trunk right there. This tree is an old tree. Maybe one day we'll come up here and count the rings on this critter. So what I've got to do now is cut this into manageable pieces for the sawmill, and there's a few things that we need to know. So I'm going to be cutting 8-foot planks, 2x4, 2-inch by 4-inch planks, true 2x4, not the stuff you get in the hardware store, or not 2x4, 2x12, not the stuff that you get in the hardware store, which is like 1.5 inches. It's going to be a full, true 2 inches thick. And what we got to think about here, first of all, is this log, which way it's going to try to roll. I've got to cut these into lengths. The size of the planter beds is 4x8. So I want 8-foot cuts out of this gigantic white oak. This is enough lumber right here to build those plant beds. I am not gonna go cut that tree down there today because the wind is howling that way, and that'll put that tree right on the fence. So we've got to wait till a better day. Sometimes when you live on a farm like this, you've got to think about the wind, and you've got to take that all into consideration when you're cutting trees like this. It's way too windy to cut that tree, but it's not way too windy to go ahead and get this up to the size that we need. The cows are up there, they're occupied, so I can open the gate, bring the skid loader through, and get this. Now, these logs are gonna be extremely heavy. This is very, very heavy white oak. Really, really strong stuff, guys. And this stuff will last in those plant beds for years and years and years. So, first thing we got to take into consideration is I'm going to have to cut this knob off of the end. This is unusable right here for the sawmill, and I'll walk you down the log and show you exactly what we're going to do, how we're going to plan for this, in case you guys are thinking about getting a sawmill for yourself or cutting lumber to take to the mill for yourself. Might as well just set the measuring tape there. Here's what we've got. So this is where it's split. It just busted right in two right there. And that is virtually unusable. The sawmill will take up to a 36-inch log. Everything here is probably unusable. So we're gonna take our first cut and we're gonna make it about right here, okay? The way we're gonna do this is we're gonna mark with sticks. We're just gonna take a stick and lay it up here where our first cut's gonna go. And we're gonna measure from that stick, we're gonna place another stick down here, and we're gonna measure off about 8 feet. We're gonna do the first log, the top log first, and then we're gonna go and move on to the bottom log. Now the bottom log down here is a little bit different, but you can see it's really, really wide down here. This is almost unusable too. So we will also wanna cut the bottom log about right here. I don't really need a stick to mark that right there. So we'll go up here and we'll lay a stick at 8 feet. We'll grab our measuring tape. So we got our tape right here. We also want to think about the size of this log, okay? So it's fatter down on the end, and it gets a little bit thinner and a little bit thinner as we go down. And you can see right here, there's a knot, okay? So it's almost all the same size from that knot all the way down. From here, down that way to the next knot right here, it's virtually the same size again. Then from here to this crotch, right up here, that's a crotch right there, is virtually the same size. It gets a little bigger as it gets closer to the crotch. So we've got 1, 2, 3 8-foot cuts, and then the next log will have 1, 2, 3, probably 4 8-foot cuts, and this is even good to put on the mill all the way up here. So we're gonna get several good, maybe 8 or 10 good saw logs out of this lumber right here. And then the rest of it will go for firewood, and we'll take all the sticks and brush, and look at this mess. When this thing hit the ground, it just completely exploded into a disaster of a mess. Let's get busy. Look at that. That is a huge mess. Before we start cutting this, I'll talk to you. I don't need to mark the lower log for these first few cuts. So what I'm gonna do, I've got my sticks laid out. Obviously, as I start dropping these, the sticks are gonna fall off, okay? And you also gotta look at the curvature of the log. So if there's a turn in it or a curve in it, it almost renders it useless on the sawmill. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the saw down the log and mark each spot where I'm gonna cut on both the lower log and the upper log. Okay, what'd we tell you about cows? All of this debris and this stinker right here is right in the middle of it. That way it can get itself injured and I'll have a vet bill. We'll go ahead and grab the skid loader. All the rest of the cows are up there looking too. That's why I had to get the cows fed first up there on top of the hill. So they're gonna be really curious and they're gonna be all up in this wood pile right here. So we'll go ahead and grab a skid loader and start scooping these guys up. I'm gonna have to really think this through because I can't open the gate to take them out with the cows coming down here all curious. And I don't know why they're down here, but that's it. That's just the nature of cows. Job well done, man, despite the wind. And the wind is picking up. We've got a cold front coming in tonight. It's supposed to drop down into the 20s again. It's 72 degrees here in November in North Carolina. So here's what we got. We got a lot of logs. I had no idea there'd be that many logs in this tree. It's amazing that you can get so much lumber out of one tree like that. It's crazy. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 logs out of that. We're gonna cut 11 logs. That'll probably be enough for maybe 7 or 8 planter boxes, so raised beds. Awesome, awesome. Very productive, fun day, guys. If we had enough time, I'd take this and put it on the mill for you, but I don't have the mill all set up, and it's nasty, nasty windy. I've learned, don't run your sawmill on a windy day, or you'll be breathing sawmill dust all day long, and you'll be picking out sawmill boogers. Probably should wear a mask. But that's it. That's what's going on Stoney Ridge Farm today. Just part of the day. I'm gonna take Skitty Bop and move all these logs down to the log pile. I don't need to paint the ends on this because this wood is absolutely dry. That tree's been standing dead for at least 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. Awesome, very productive, fun day here on Stoney Ridge Farm. Please pound that like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you back here with me. See you guys later. Woo! Come on down to the Stoney Ridge, bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. That thing hit the ground so hard that it threw a stick all the way over here. Isn't that crazy? Look how far that is. It threw a stick all the way over here. That's a limb right there. That'll kill you. I mean, dangerous. Isn't that crazy? That's at least 100 feet. That's crazy.